Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into what might be one of the most feared parts of the IELTS exam, the reading test. Now, this entire explainer is built from the amazing work of expert teacher IELTS guide Phil, and we're going to turn his guide into your personal roadmap for success.
Our goal here is pretty simple. Give you a complete guide to understanding all 11 question types, the specific strategies you need for each one, and the common traps you absolutely have to avoid.
So if you're looking at that list of 11 question types and feeling just a little bit stressed out, don't worry. You are definitely not alone. It's a super common feeling, but we are about to tackle it head on. And here's my promise to you. By the end of this, we're going to turn all that confusion into a clear, confident plan. You'll have a solid framework to understand every single question and a strategy to walk into that test feeling ready.
Okay, so think of this first section as your map. Right? Before we get into all the details of the journey, we need to understand the terrain. So let's just look at the basic structure of the test. So the bottom line is this. You have exactly 1 hour, 60 minutes to answer 40 questions across 3 long passages. That breaks down to about 90 seconds for each question. And here's the really good news. There is no penalty for wrong answers. So you should never, ever, ever leave a question blank.
Now, which path are you on? This is important. The academic module uses these dense, scholarly texts from journals and magazines. The general training module, on the other hand, pulls from more everyday stuff, like workplace notices or ads. The strategies we're going to cover apply to both, but knowing your module helps you focus your practice on the right kind of material.
All right, let's get right into the heart of it, the question types. We're going to group them by the core skill they're really testing. And first up are the questions that ask you to find and verify specific pieces of information.
These 3 types, they look pretty straightforward, but, the devil is in the details. Multiple choice is all about understanding specific points. True, false, not given is about the facts in the text. But yes, no, not given, it's similar, but it's about the writer's views or claims, and that is a really important distinction to make. Now here's where this strategy really kicks in. For multiple choice, always read the question stem first. It focuses your brain before you get confused by the options. And for the others, understanding the difference between false and not given is everything. For example, if the text says the car was red, a statement saying the car was blue is clearly false. But what about a statement that says the car was fast? Well, that's not given. The text doesn't say anything about speed at all. See? It's a logic puzzle. Okay, let's move on to our next group of question types. These are all about matching and completing information, and they test your ability to see the structure of the text and, fill in the gaps.
So you've got these 4 matching tasks, and they all require slightly different skills. Headings are all about the big picture. What's the main idea of a whole paragraph? Matching information is the exact opposite. You're looking for one tiny specific detail. Then you have features, which is about linking ideas to people or names, and sentence endings, which test both your understanding and your grammar.
And here we have the completion tasks. Now, whether you are filling in a sentence, labeling a diagram, or writing a short answer, there is one golden rule you absolutely cannot forget. Check the word limit. If it says no more than 2 words, then writing 3 words is wrong, even if the information itself is totally correct.
So knowing the question types is half the battle, for sure. The other half is knowing the common traps that so many test takers fall into. So let's take a look at what you need to watch out for.
These right here are the 4 big score killers. We've already talked about ignoring instructions. Poor time management is huge. If a question feels too hard, just make your best educated guess and move on. Now pay really close attention to number 3, keyword matching. This is a classic trap. The text might say, the project's outcome was uncertain, but a tricky answer option will say, the project had an uncertain beginning. The keyword is there, but the meaning is completely different. And finally, always guess. A blank answer is a guaranteed 0. So now that we have our map and we know where the traps are, let's look at your compass. These are the tools and the knowledge that will guide you to a high score. Let's tackle some of the most common questions people have.
This is probably the #1 question people ask. Is the academic module really that much more difficult than the general training one?
And the answer is a pretty straightforward yes. The skills being tested are the same, but the source material for the academic test is intentionally a lot more dense, technical, and challenging. So your preparation really has to match that level of difficulty.
Okay, here's another crucial question. It's a reading test, right?
So, does your own writing on the answer sheet actually matter? The answer to that is a resounding yes. If you copy a word from the passage but you spell it wrong on your answer sheet, the answer is marked wrong, period. There's no partial credit. Accuracy is everything. So here it is, your final checklist for success. You got to practice every question type under timed conditions. You need to master skimming for main ideas and scanning for specific details. Work on building your vocabulary. And maybe most importantly, when you make a mistake in practice, don't just brush it off. Dig in and figure out why you made it. That's where the real learning happens.
This quote from IELTS Guide Phil's article just sums it all up perfectly. This isn't just a test of how well you read English, it's a test of your strategy, your timing, and your ability to stay focused under pressure.
We've covered a ton of ground, but honestly, this is just the beginning. The strategies we've talked about today all come from the fantastic resources written, created, and produced by IELTS Guide Phil. To really master these skills, I can't recommend this enough. Check out the original full blog post over at IELTSGuidePhil.com for even more detail. You can also watch more explainers right here on his YouTube channel, listen to deep dive episodes on his Spotify podcast, and connect with a really supportive community on his Facebook page. You can find direct links to all of these amazing resources right in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck on your IELTS journey.